Very good morning to everyone. So today I'll be doing the analysis of 5th of October, the Hindu, and I've shared the screen with you. So okay, the first news that is there. Just a minute. Okay, so we have got this news there, which says that there was a glacial lake burst in Sikkim. So now, which were the districts that were worst affected? So the worst affected districts were this Pakyong, Mangan, Gangtok, Namchi. And what has happened? So the South Lonak Lake in northern Sikkim is situated about 5,200 meters above sea level. Scientists have previously warned that the lake had been expanding over years, possibly from melting of ice as its head. Nearly half the lake was drained out, according to the press statement by National Disaster Management Agency. This was likely caused by an avalanche from the ice-capped feature. So this glacial lake outburst is coming from where? Avalanche breakdown. Let's continue to the page 12 as it says. Okay, so coming to the 12th page, it says what? The Chungthang Dam, a concrete-round dam, was breached from its center from the sheer force and spread of water estimated at nearly 54 kilometers per hour. There is significant damage. However, the water from the lake has receded. It was a 160 hectare glacial lake, and now it is about 60 hectares. So all the water has flowed down. Rain is expected for the next 2 days. Currently, the dam and surroundings are inaccessible. So the distance between the lake and the Tista 3 power project is very short. The Central Water Commission reported a rising column of water. So, what is happening? The CWC river monitoring stations reported that first surge of water was nearly 60 feet above the maximum level. Now, more than 8,000 cubic meter per second of water has been released from Tista Barrage, which was resulted in flood-like situation in downstream districts. These downstream districts are your Kalimpong, Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri, and Kuch Bihar. Now, the scientists from IISC and ISRO, through multiple studies, have warned that South Lonak Lake was potentially hazardous and cautioned the authorities to keep an eye. It was expanding dangerously. Now, glacial lake outburst floods, as such events are a major concern in the areas of Bhutan, Tibet, India, Nepal, Pakistan. The IISC study has recommended measures like early warning system mitigation measures to be put in place in potential glacial lake outburst flood areas. So, how you can meet the challenges in the glacial lake outburst flood areas. So they are talking about that you should have a early warning system, and apart from that there should be mitigation measures as well. Fine. Now let's move on to the next news. Just a minute. Okay. So the next news was there in your first page only. Now, this says that the trio wins chemistry Nobel for quantum dots. The 2023 Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been awarded to Alexei, Lewis Bruce, and Monge for their work on quantum dots. Now, what are quantum dots? These are very small crystals with peculiar properties that have found applications in a variety of fields from new age LED screens to quantum computers. That means they have found what is the use of these quantum dots is that their applications are in the field of uh, new age LED screens, quantum computers, etc. So quantum dots are bringing the great benefit to humankind, and we have just begun to explore their potentials. And this is said by who? The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences said. Now, researchers believe that in future, quantum dots can contribute to flexible electronics, minuscule sensors, slimmer cells, and perhaps the encrypted quantum communication. So, the potential of quantum dots is believed to be where um, in your electronics, in your minuscule sensors, in your slimmer solar cells, and in your encrypted quantum communication. Fine. Now the reports that have emerged that Nobel Committee had inadvertently revealed the names of the winners that was assessed by the Swedish press with respect to the laureates in the chemistry Nobel Prize for quantum dots. Now let's move on to the page number 12 for detailing. Okay, here it is. Quantum dots are crystal just a few nanometers wide. So one of the features of quantum dots is that it is a crystal which is a few nanometers wide, or you can say it has a feature of few measurement of few nanometers, holding only a few thousand atoms. That means it holds thousands of atoms. To compare, a single grain of sand can hold around 6 trillion atoms. Now, the electrons in the dot atoms are very close to each other, very little wiggle room. At this nanoscale, the effect of quantum mechanics are more apparent. When some light is shined on a quantum dot, it will absorb and re-emit it at different frequency. That means if, for example, if this is a quantum dot, so what is going to happen? When some light is shined on this quantum dot, that means this is the path of the light, and this, so what will happen now? This quantum dot will absorb this light, and once this quantum dot absorbs this light, what is going to happen? This will re-emit the light. That means this is absorbed. Excuse me. So this will absorb, and now what is going to happen is that this quantum dot is going to re-emit the same light but with a different frequency. So this will be a light with different frequency, or you can say or color, just like some atoms. So uniquely the color depends on the size of the dot. That means the color of the light that is re-emitted depends upon the size of the dot. So the color of the light is directly proportional to the size of the dot. The smaller dot, the bluer the color of the re-emitted light. This relationship between size and color is the result of electrons in the atoms jumping from a lower to a higher energy level before jumping back. So the gap between these levels depends upon the size of the dot. What else? In the early 1980s, Dr. Ikimov and Dr. Bruce separately synthesized the first quantum dot in a glass and a liquid, respectively, proving the existence of such crystals and confirming their ability to fluorescence light of different colors based on their size. But they both had a problem. They could not consistently synthesize high quality dots. So then what happened was that in 1993, there was a team which had the answer for this. And what was the answer? They injected small dollops of compound into a specific solvent until it was saturated and heated the solution. The compound soon began to coalesce into nanocrystals in the liquid, with the solvent itself giving them a smooth shape. Larger crystals formed when the solution was heated for longer. So, what they are saying is they used a specific solvent, and when the solution was heated for longer, so what is going to happen? Larger crystals were formed. Fine. So this was about the chemistry's Nobel Prize coming for the quantum dots. Undoubtedly, the relevance and the significance or the importance of quantum dot is very high when with respect to the future scenario, or with respect to the future science and technology. Okay, so this was about quantum dots. Now let's move on to the next analysis. If we have any in the first page. Okay, so the first page only talks about LPG subsidy for Ujjwala beneficiaries raised to 300. What are they talking about regarding the Ujjwala Yojna? So ahead of the assembly, what is happening is that the subsidy given on LPG cylinder under Ujjwala scheme to rupees 300 from the current rupees 200 per cylinder. That means they have raised the subsidy. That means on Wednesday they raised the subsidy given on LPG cylinder under Ujjwala scheme to rupees 300 from the current rupees 200 per cylinder. 14.2 kg cylinder under the Ujjwala scheme, which provides free cooking gas connection to poor women, will now cost rupees 603 as against the current 703. The decision is expected to benefit 9.6 crore families. So, move on to 12th page. Now you see here, what they are saying is that the announcement of the decision taken by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, the CCEA has raised the subsidy from 200 to rupees 300 per cylinder for up to 12 refills per year, he said. Now this the government had in August cut domestic cooking gas price by rupees 200 per cylinder, after which it cost 903. For Ujjwala beneficiaries, the price was 703 after considering the rupees 200 subsidy. So when the rate of the LPG cylinder was subsidized, so the rate were cut down by minus 200. Fine. So the cost of the cylinder for the Ujjwala beneficiaries is 703. Fine. Now let's move on to the next analysis. Okay, so let's first do this one and then we can move on to the next one. The roller coaster, that was the 2023 monsoon. So, monsoon, the news analysis or this news is talking about the 2023 monsoon. So let's see what they have. Okay, so Eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Gangetic West Bengal, Southern Interior, Karnataka, Kerala ended the season with deficient rainfall. So what is happening is the officials from 2023, the officials 2023 Southwest monsoon season. Now, if you remember or if you have a little bit idea, so see this is the coastal line of India. When the southwest monsoon is entering, so if you have a little bit idea, the southwest monsoon entering from or being there from June to September. So what they are saying has ended. Though the withdrawal of the monsoon may continue till mid-October, this monsoon season has been erratic. That means they are talking about the 2023 monsoon to be erratic. It started with a severe deficit in the days of June. That means what they are saying is that when the initial days of June was there was severe deficit of rainfall that was encountered. So what happened is, which initially it was severe deficit in the month of June, which turned surplus in many days of July, flooding several northern states, followed by the driest August. Now the IMD department, that is your India Meteorological Department, attributes days with deficient rainfall this season to the impact of El Nino. So what they are saying is that the reason why we had a deficient rainfall is because of the effect of El Nino. And the days of surplus rainfall, especially in September, to the positive IOD, that is Indian Ocean Dipole. So the deficiency of the rainfall was because of El Nino effect. And the next one, that is the rainfall, which was a surplus, it was because of positive IOD, that is Indian Ocean Dipole. El Nino is a climate pattern that describes the periodic warming of sea surface temperatures in the eastern and central Pacific, which is linked to below normal monsoon rainfall in India. The IOD is defined by difference in sea surface temperature between the western part of the Indian Ocean and the eastern part of the Indian Ocean. So, if you see the Indian Ocean, just a minute, let me make it clear to you. Hold on for a second. Okay, so I have shared a screen with you all. This is Indian Ocean dipole. Okay, so this is your Indian Ocean dipole. And if you go with the news, what they have said is that the uh, Ocean dipole, that is IOD, is defined by what? It is defined by the difference in sea surface temperature between the western part of the Indian Ocean, that is closer to Arabian Sea, and the eastern part of the Indian Ocean. So a positive IOD means that the western part is warmer than the average, while the eastern part is cooler than the average. So the positive IOD is associated with above average monsoon rainfall in India. Now, if you see the picture over here, this is your Indian Ocean dipole, and in the picture itself, what is happening? You have this western part of your Indian Ocean, this one, and then you have a eastern part of Indian Ocean. Now they are saying when the western part of the Indian Ocean and the eastern part of the Indian Ocean, in which the western part is warmer than the average while eastern part is cooler than the average. So what is going to happen when your western part, this part is going to be warmer and this part is going to be cooler? So what is going to happen is that your winds will get attracted towards it, and once your winds are getting attracted towards it, what is going to happen? This is going to bring immense of rainfall in our region. So this is why we call it as positive IOD. So one thing what you can learn from here is that what is the condition for IOD, that is Indian Ocean dipole. So in that condition, you can say that the sea surface temperature, that is the difference between the sea surface temperature in an Indian Ocean dipole, there is a difference. And difference with respect to what? Sea surface temperature. And this sea surface temperature is primarily between the western part and eastern part. So western part and the eastern part of your Indian Ocean region. Fine. Now, when it comes to a positive IOD, so your western part should be warmer one. That means here, if you are going to talk about positive IOD, so this western part is should be the warmer part, and this warmer part. Uh, okay, so this western part should be the warmer part, and this should be the cooler part. Now, this will help in bringing what above this condition, warmer part, cooler part. So this condition is will be helpful in bringing above average rainfall. And this again is going to bring a good monsoon. Now, what are your respective charts showing you? Um, It shows the cumulative departure in percentage of rainfall from long period average in India this monsoon season. The LPA is the average rainfall received between 1971 and 2020. Departure of 20% or lower point to deficient rainfall, departure of plus 20% or higher points to surplus rainfall, and anything in between is considered as normal. So the chart shows, however, that there was a severe deficit in the first 2 weeks of June, which was compensated in July, and severely dry August was later compensated in September, leading to a normal monsoon in the end. The monthly percentage, the monthly percentage departure of rainfall from this. Just a minute, it has hanged. Hold on for a minute. Okay, so they are saying that the monthly percentage departure of rainfall from long period average in India was -9% here, and respectively, which is shown in your chart 2. So here, this is your chart 1. The chart 1 shows your cumulative departure in percentage of long period average, and then the chart 2 shows the region-wise split of the monthly percentage of departure of rainfall in 2023 monsoons. Now, map 3 shows the meteorological subdivision-wise percentage of departure of rainfall from long period average in India at the end of the monsoon season. The subdivisions highlighted are Eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Gangetic, West Bengal, South Interior, Karnataka, and Kerala ended with a deficit rainfall. So these divisions highlight that they ended with a deficit rainfall. Now, further moving, what they have said is that the subdivisions in the regions of Saurashtra and Kutch and the West Rajasthan ended with surplus rainfall. So, if you see in the chart here, this is the analysis of the meteorological department. So what they have said that the region of the Saurashtra and Kutch So Western Rajasthan, Saurashtra, and Kutch are having what? Surplus rain, or you can say excess of rain. And when it comes to regions of here, Eastern UP, Bihar, Gangetic West Bengal, so they said that these regions and it also included your South Interior, Karnataka, and your Kerala. So they said that this region or these regions encountered what? A deficit rainfall. The rest of India recorded a normal rainfall. This monsoon season, many weather agencies, along with IMD, had predicted a below normal rainfall as it was an El Nino year. Uh, Yet its effect was minimized due to favorable conditions in the Indian Ocean. Moreover, the Indian monsoon season can be impacted by other regional and global atmospheric patterns as well as such as the Eurasian snow cover. So they have said that your monsoon, especially in the regions of the Indian Ocean, this can be or this can be impacted from your Eurasian snow cover. So one thing you need to remember that the Eurasian snow cover also affects your monsoon or the climatic pattern. So chart 4 shows the impact of El Nino. This chart. This shows the impact of El Nino and La Nina had on the percentage departure of rainfall from long period average in the southwest monsoon. La Nina, now here what you have studied, or in this article what you have studied about, they have mentioned about El Nino. They have mentioned about IOD, that is your Indian Ocean Dipole. They have mentioned about Eurasian snow cover. Okay. And then at the end they have talked about La Nina. So if you see your these phenomena become very important with respect to how they affect or they bring the change or the southwest monsoon gets impacted. La Nina is a climate pattern that describes the periodic cooling of sea surface temperature cooling of sea surface temperature in the eastern and the central Pacific that is associated with surplus rain in India. So it is the cooling of the or related to the Pacific Ocean. Fine. Just let me get you the La Nina pattern so that you could understand better. Okay. Uh, La Nina is a climate pattern that describes the periodic cooling of sea surface temperature in the eastern and the central Pacific that is associated with the surplus rain in India. The chart shows that not all El Nino years result in deficient rainfall and not all La Nina years result in increase, showing that other factors do influence the Indian monsoon. So, this article is basically talking about that La Nina also affects your rainfall in India. Why? Because if there is a periodic this La Nina pattern talks about what it talks about the periodic cooling of sea surface temperature in the eastern and the central Pacific part that is associated with what bringing the surplus rain in India. So let me show you the La Nina pattern. Okay, so I have showed a screen or I have shared a screen with you, and this is La Nina pattern. Now see what they have saying. This is a cooling of your eastern and your central Pacific Ocean, and this cooling is resulting in what? Is resulting in changes with respect to your surplus rain in India. Fine. Now, other than that, what they are saying that these are not the only factors that are associated with your rainfall. Why? Because they have also talked about that other factors also play a influence. So, apart from all these factors that we have listed over here, which impact your monsoon in India, there are other factors also with respect to what change in the monsoon of India. Fine. So this was about Indian Ocean dipole, El Nino, La Nina. Then I talked about Eurasian snow cover, etc. Fine. Now let's move on to the next news analysis. Now again, women's quota and panchayat to parliament, we have covered it, immensely in previous news articles also. So you can go through it once and give a layman reading. So just go through it once. Fine. Now let's go on to the next one. Now, new defense indigenization list has futuristic weapon system. Again, this is very important with respect to your science and tech portion, GS paper 3. Our defense minister on Wednesday released the fifth positive indigenization list of 98 items to be procured by three services from domestic sources. He also released the Navy update indigenization of roadmap, which is Swalambam 2. Now, the Department of Military Affairs compiled a list after several rounds of consultation with all the stakeholders. The defense minister said in a statement that it lays a special focus on import substitution of components of major systems beside important platforms, weapon systems, sensors, munitions, which are being developed and likely to translate into firm order in the next 5 to 10 years. At the plenary session of Swalambam 2, the 2-day seminar of the Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization, now Mr. Singh has launched 76 challenges for the industry under the 10th Defense India Startup Challenges. Now, what are the challenges associated with the same? So, prime this they talk about the Defense India Startup Challenges, 10 prime of innovations for defense excellence and 5 problem statement under IDEX for these. Now, in addition, 2 Indus-X challenge under Indus-X, mutual promotion of advanced collaborative technologies challenges jointly finalized by IDEX and the US. Now, a special interactive session for this was done. The item on the indigenization list includes futuristic infantry combat vehicle. So, what are the items? So, first is your futuristic infantry combat vehicle. Second is your articulated all-terrain vehicle. Third is several types of unmanned aerial vehicles, medium range precision kill system for artillery, test equipment for guided weapons for T-90 SSK tanks, radar armor plates for cabin nose, sections for Mi-17 helicopter, automated mobile test system for OSA AKM air defense system, gravity rollers for Mi-17 V5 helicopter, and flares of P-8I and MiG-29K aircraft. The department had earlier promulgated 4 such lists of 411 military items. This is in addition to the 4 list for defense public sector undertakings. Now, what need to be remembered over here is now see what need to be remembered over here is that you should know about the items. You should know about what is the planning. Fine. So this would eventually help in knowing what is the map of indigenization or the roadmap of indigenization under Swalambam 2.0. Fine. This one was for your defense section. Now move on to the next one. Okay, now if we come to this section, page number 16, this talks about your green shipping plan to position maritime sector as eco-friendly. So what is there? The National Action Plan for Green Shipping Promotion, the National Action Plan for Green Shipping promoting eco-friendly practices and incentives for low emission ships will help position India's maritime sector as environmentally responsible. Now, what are they talking about, or how will it help in making the India's maritime sector as environmentally responsible? Now, India's maritime sector will play a pivotal role in achieving a $20 trillion economy by 2047 with a 9% projected growth rate. Mr. Jagannath has said this in his inaugural address at the INEX SMM India's 2023 Maritime Industry Exhibition. So the sector's vision encompasses quadrupling port capacity. That means they are talking about what? Increasing the port capacity. Other than that, they are saying that clean energy fuel hubs should be formed. So then is your cruise tourism. So clean energy fuel, cruise tourism, increasing the port capacity. Next one is your shipbuilding. Then is your recycling, and the next one is 5,000 kilometer regional waterway grid. So 5,000 kilometers of regional waterway grid. Fine. So this is your green shipping plan to position maritime sector as eco-friendly. So if you see right now we have talked about the defense sector. This time we are talking about the maritime sector, and these are your green shipping plan. And these green shipping plan are basically to make the maritime sector as your eco-friendly sector. And which are the area they have focused on? They have focused on cruise tourism. They have focused on clean energy fuels, yeah, clean energy fuels hubs. Then they have talked about quadrupling the port capacity. They have talked about shipbuilding. They have talked about recycling. They have talked about maintaining the waterway grid, which would be as long as 5,000 kilometers. Okay. See, if you go what this maritime industry, or what kind of capacity this Indian maritime industry is taking. So India's maritime sector has played a very pivotal role in achieving what $20 trillion economy by 2047 with a 9% projected growth rate. So now they are talking about that our shipping industry or our maritime sector has a capacity of what? They have talked about what they have talked about, that we are having this capacity, this projected growth rate of $20 trillion economy. That means 9% projected growth rate. Fine. So we are having this high capacity of, or high capacity to increase our maritime sector. Fine. Now let's move. Okay, we have done the usual scheme. Fine. Let's move on to the next analysis. Okay, so now this article again is very important. Keeping tabs on carbon with an accounting system. Now, if you see, the authors are talking about what you need to have a check on carbon, and this would should be done with an accounting system. So the climate poly crisis, a term made popular by Adam Tooze, refers to the interconnected and compounding crises related to climate change that are affecting the planet not just in a few sectors but across several sectors and domains. It encompasses the physical impact of climate change, that is rising temperatures, sea level rise and extreme weather events. and the social, economic, and political challenges that arise from these impact. In India, one can see the interconnections between seemingly different sectors such as energy, infrastructure, health, migration, and food production that are being impacted by the climate change. So, what they are saying is that India's sector, that means your energy sector, your infrastructure sector, your health sector. Okay, so now these sectors are interlinked, not with respect to any other country, but India. The energy sector, the infrastructure, the health sector, the migration, the food production, all are interlinked, and they are interlinked with respect to what they are impacted by climate change. So, recognizing the complexity and the interconnectedness of the climate policy crisis, it is crucial in developing a holistic approach that takes into account the diverse perspective and priorities of different stakeholders. So, what they are saying is that since all of the other sectors are interconnected, so what is going to happen is that they are going to get impacted with the climate change. So what we need to do is that we need to keep the tab on the carbon so that all the other sectors are performing well. So how is this going to happen? They are saying that we need to ensure resilience, we need to ensure equity and justice. So they are talking about resilience, they are talking about equity, maintaining equity, they are talking about justice. While it seems easier to pursue a response to climate change in sectoral fashions, the very nature of polycrisis means that tweaking one corner of the climate challenge leads to unexpected consequences elsewhere. So, what you need to do over here is you need to understand the terminology of polycrisis. And when they are talking about polycrisis, what they are saying is that in polycrisis, if there is tweaking of one corner of climate change, so it is going to impact the other consequences as well. So one change in any of the area is going to impact all other areas. Fine. Instead, we need a deep transformation, one that lays the foundation of a new economy that is sensitive to the climate. Just as what they're saying is ki, as the digital infrastructure came, what happened? We got new startups, we got new public services, we got to imagine carbon infrastructure. So what they are talking about is that you need to imagine what carbon infrastructure that create opportunities for flourishing future carbon regimes that takes the flow of carbon into account in the formulation of policy at every level. That means the policy should be framed regarding carbon where in the areas of household, in the areas of panchayat, in the areas of district, state and country. Now, what are your measurements for that respect? Now, they say that the first step is measurement for whatever cannot be measured, cannot be accounted for. So we need to measure the carbon emissions from that of individual citizens to that of nation as a whole, including all that is in flow. Once we have a measurement system in place, we can build an accounting system that help us balance our carbon books. So, see, all in all, what they are saying is in this one part that if you want to make an accounting system, if you want to bring out the measures of carbon, you need to know what is the contribution of the people there, and that shall be based on what the measurement should be based on at a level of individual and then at a level of nation. So this will give you a wholesome regarding what your contribution or your carbon contribution. So this will help in formulation of your accounting system. Now the next thing they are saying, we are all familiar with the financial balance sheet with the sources and application. What if the same thing happens is done for carbon? So they are saying that financial balance sheet, we all understand what would happen if the similar thing is happening with carbon. That means existing carbon accounting methodology such as which was championed by someone from Oxford. Now, a national carbon accounting system is both an evolutionary and revolutionary generalization of these ideas. Why? Because this will bring a paradigmatic shift or change in the way we look at all humans and non-human activities. So just imagine a world in which we file carbon tax returns alongside our income tax return or maybe along the carbon tax return. So they are talking about what carbon tax returns. So the authors are of the opinion just like we are filing income tax return, we should also go for carbon tax returns. Carbon accounting, public finance is the primary mechanism of development. Government's appropriation fund for different development activities such as competing with others for the exchequer's purpose. Now the revenue to fund the public exchequer comes from taxes. And this is what they are saying, that money accounting is an integrated system all the way from spending of individuals to RBI that help us keep track of circulation of money within the system. Thus, keeping account of makes money visible and makes public finance possible. So, see, what they are doing is that they are linking it with your what they are doing is that they are linking your public finance management system with your carbons. And when they are doing so, what like how they are doing so, they are saying, see, the money circulation in the system is visible through public finances. So similarly, what is the flow of the carbon in the world, that could also be done through the carbon taxes. And this is possible how? By penalizing the large buyers. Okay, so large buyers of petrol more than the average consumer. The progressive carbon tax requires us to keep track of inflows and outflows of carbon. And NCA will bring the concept of carbon books to the nation, will make mandatory for the business and individual to declare report of their carbon inflows. Now, in the entire thing, they are talking about how you can maintain a book with respect to your carbon flow. And this is one of the future of national carbon budget. Now, the last paragraph talks about how this is going to bring, or could be a poly solution. They say that an NCA will not only help India meet its commitment to becoming net zero by 2070, but also help it and other countries create new livelihood and new forms of organizing its economy and society. Exactly, this is going to happen. Why? Because this is one of its own kind. This is one of its own type. Uh, Public finance management we have heard about, but this is a new concept where we are going to manage carbon by having a carbon accounting system. So this is what was the author's viewpoint, and he has emphasized on poly crisis. So you should know about the poly crisis. Much of the articles were there in today's newspaper, and I have covered all of them. Thank you so much.